What's up, you filthy heretics? How you doing? My name is Asmogan and I welcome you back to my channel. Today I'll be talking about one of the Xenos factions of the 40K universe, the Orks. Now, without further ado, on to the lore dump. As I have talked at great length about the Imperium of Man, I thought it only appropriate to give the Xenos factions a chance in the proverbial limelight. Therefore, I turned to my personal favorite Xenos faction, the Orks, also known as the Green Tide. Orks are a savage race of barbaric brutes that enjoy nothing more than fighting and killing. That includes each other, funny enough. The greenskins are extremely large, about 6 to 7 feet tall on average, and are literal walking fungus. But before we get into biology, let's talk origins, shall we? The Orks, like the Eldar, are one of the oldest races in the 40K universe. They and the Eldar, then known as the Eldari, were created by an ancient race of godlike beings known as the Old Ones, who the Orks refer to as Brain Boys, for the purpose of fighting a war against their creator's enemies. Said enemies were another godlike race known as the Catan, and by extension, their Necron slaves. When the Orks were initially crafted, they were very different from how they appear now in the universe. For one thing, they weren't called Orks, they were known as the Crork. Wow, what a difference. Well anyway, the Crork were even larger than the average Ork in the 41st millennium, and were also smarter. Not Einstein levels, but they were at least semi-coherent. Despite the last-ditch effort on the Old Ones' part, the Crork and the Eldari failed to be ready in time, and the Old Ones were wiped out by the Catan and the Necrons. The Necrons then broke free of their Catan slavers and turned the tables on them by enslaving them. But that's a story for another day. Over many millions of years, the Crork would devolve into what we now would recognize as the Orks, or as I prefer to refer to them, greenskins. Now on to the basic biology of the Orks. Orks are, as I said before, walking fungus. They are birthed in massive batches from fungal spores that land on planets, and they are born knowing 3 things instinctively: how to fight, how to talk, sort of, and how to build the most impractical shit conceivable that still somehow ends up working. Additionally, all Orks possess a weird psyker ability in which, if they all believe something is true or real, somehow it becomes real. For example, if an Ork applies a certain color of war paint on himself and tells the rest of the Orks that that color will protect them, and they all believe it, bullets will actually bounce off the parts of their skin painted the color they believe will protect them. Yeah, beautifully fucking insane, isn't it? But with all that insanity said, let's talk culture. Or as the Orks would put it, culture with a K. Ork culture is beautifully simplistic and all over the fucking place. To try and structure the unstructurable, however, I'll just go over the clans and hope it gets across their culture. First off are the Goths, also known as the Orks Ork, if you will. They are the most brutish and toughest of the Ork clans and love nothing more than to get up close and personal with their enemies. Hell, they are the most prone to start fights with each other just for an excuse to beat something up. This clan also looks down on Orks who don't do as they do. They see anything further back than punching distance as cowardly and un-Orkish. Next up are the Evil Sons, speed freaks of the Orks and are in love with the color red. All Orks in fact believe the color makes them go faster, so the Evil Sons are covered head to toe in red armor. This clan is obsessed with speedy vehicles on top of that, and will ride into battle strapped to a literal red rocket. The Blood Axe clan are considered as un-Orky by the rest of the clans for their willingness to openly trade with the humans of the Imperium, pre-plan battles, and even retreat when losing? Not to mention they are known to work for humans as mercenaries, so the rest of the Ork society has labeled them untrustworthy gits. The Death Skulls are light-fingered, plundering scavengers of the battlefield with a side obsession with mechs. Death Skulls are pretty insular in comparison to the other clans and tend to be untrusted. This perception is rightfully earned, as they are indeed the kleptomaniacs of the Ork culture. Though most impressively, they seem to use whatever they can get their hands on to construct a plethora of mechs for battle. The Snakebite clan are traditionalists of the Ork world and hate mechs and guns, used by the rest of the Ork clans. They believe in using literal sticks and stones, maybe a slingshot or two, and vicious livestock. They use many a menagerie of squigs and grots for warfare, and are adept at melee combat. And finally, we have the Freebooters, who are not actually a clan. The Freebooters is just a term used by orcs in reference to those that have been cast out of general orc society. These outcasts, freebooters, often are seen in the form of pirates and thieves. The last thing key to orcs worth mentioning is their religion. Yes, orcs actually have one, kinda. Orcs believe in two gods known as Gork and Mork. Gork is brutal but cunning, and Mork is cunning but brutal. Though they may sound identical to an orc, there is a clear, concise difference between them, to the point where different orcs will actually have a preference between the two gods, and will be labeled as Gorkers or Morkers. God, I love orcs. That about sums up the orcs of Warhammer 40K in the most simplistic way. I hope you enjoyed this latest entry of the Warhammer 40K in a Nutshell series. If you did, you know what to do. Leave a like, a comment, and subscribe if you're new. My name is Asmogan, and remember, for the Imperium, my brothers.